You're recorded down. Is it recording now?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayan.
Tato Jayamudirayan.
Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Utamasloke.
Bhagavati Utamasloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiti.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiti.
So, somehow Dear Govinda Prabhu invited me to speak here, so we're continuing in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Second canto, chapter 7, scheduled incarnations, and today's verse is 49.
49, yeah.
I believe this is in the Brahma Samhita meter.
Yeah.
Sa Shreyasam Api Vibhu Bhagavan Yata Asya Bhava Swabhava Vihitasya Sata Prasidi Dehe Swadatu Vigame Anu Visiryamane Vyoma Iva Tatra Purusha Na Visiryate Aja Sashreyasam Api Vipur Bhagavan Yatosya Bhava Swabhava Vihitasya Sata Prasidi Dehe Swadatu Vigame Nu Visiryamane Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Visiryateja Sashreyasam Api Vipur Bhagavan Yatosya Bhava Swabhava Vihitasya Sata Prasidi Dehe Swadatu Vigame Nu Visiryamane Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Visiryateja
Sashreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Shreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Bhava Svabhava Viditasya Sata Prasiddhi
Bhava Swabhava Viditasya Sacha Prasiddhi
Dehe Spadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Vyomeva Tatra Pusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Sashreyasam Vibhu Bhagavan Yatosya
Sashreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Bhava Svabhava Viditasya Sata Prasiddhi
Bhava Swabhava Viditasya Sacha Prasiddhi
Dehi Svadatu Vigamenu Vishiryame Mane
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Sashreyasam Vibhu Bhagavan Yatosya
Sashreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Bhava Swabhava Viditasya Sacha Prasiddhi
Bhava Svabhava Viditasya Sata Prasiddhi
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Sashreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Sashreyasam Vibhur Bhagavan Yatosya
Bhava Svabhava Viditasya Sacha Prasiddhi
Bhava Svabhava Viditasya Sata Prasiddhi
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Dehe Swadatu Vigamenu Vishiryamane
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Yomeva Tatra Purusho Na Vishiryate Ja
Anyone online like to chat? Can we hear them?
Yeah, they will unmute themselves.
If they want to chant, they'll unmute themselves.
Anyone? Last call?
That's called, right? I think we can go to the word for word.
Sa
Sa
Hi
E.
Shreyasam
Shreyasam.
all auspiciousness
All auspiciousness.
Api
Api.
also
Also.
Vibhu
Vibhu.
the master
The Master,
Bhagavan
Bhagavan,
the personality of Godhead
Personality of Godhead.
Yata
Yata.
because
Because.
Asya
Asya,
of the living entity
Of the living entity.
Bhava
Bhava,
natural modes
Natural modes.
Swabhava
Swabhava,
own constitution
Own constitution.
Vihitasya
Viditasya,
performances
Performances.
Sata
Sata,
all good works
All good work.
Prasiddhi
Prasiddhi.
ultimate success
Ultimate success.
Dehe
Dehe,
of the body
Of the body.
Svadatu
Svadatu.
forming elements
Forming elements.
Vigame
Vigame.
being vanquished
Being vanquished.
Anu
Anu.
after
After.
Vishiryamane
Vishiryamane.
having given up
Having given up.
Voma
Yoma.
sky
Sky.
Eva
Eva.
light
Light.
Tatra,
Tatra,
thereupon, Purusha,
Purusha,
the living entity,
the living entity,
na, never,
never,
Visuryate,
Vishiryate,
becomes vanquished,
becomes vanquished,
Aja,
Aja,
due to being unborn.
due to being unborn.
Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living beings in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, he is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body. The personality of Godhead
Personality of Godhead
is the supreme master
Is the supreme master
of everything auspicious,
of everything auspicious,
because the results
because the results
of whatever actions are performed
of
of
whatever
every
actions are performed
by the living being
by the living being
in either the material or spiritual existence
in
in either the material or spiritual existence
are awarded by the Lord.
are awarded by the Lord.
As such,
As
As
such,
such,
he is the ultimate benefactor.
he is the ultimate benefactor.
Every living entity
Every living entity
is unborn,
is unborn,
and therefore,
and therefore,
even after the annihilation
even after the annihilation
of the material
of the material
elementary body,
elementary body,
the living entity exists
the
the living entity exists
exactly like the air within the body.
exactly like the air within the body.
Purport. The living entity is unborn and eternal, and as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 2:30, the living entity is not exhausted even though the material elementary body is vanquished. As long as the living entity is in material existence, actions performed by him are rewarded in the next life or even in the present life. Similarly, in his spiritual life, also actions are rewarded by the Lord by the 5 kinds of liberation. Even the impersonalist cannot achieve the desired merging into the existence of the Supreme without being favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4:11 that the Lord awards similar results as one desires in one's present life. The living entities are given freedom to make their choice, and the Lord awards them accordingly. It is the duty of everyone, therefore, to worship devoutly only the personality of Godhead to achieve his desired goal. The impersonalist, instead of speculating or meditating, can directly execute the devotional service of the Lord and thus easily obtain the desired goal. The devotees, however, are naturally inclined to become associates of the Lord and not merge into the spiritual existence as conceived by the impersonalists. The devotees, therefore, following their constitutional instincts, achieve the desired goal of becoming servitors, friends, fathers, mothers, or conjugal lovers of the Lord. The devotional service of the Lord involves 9 transcendental processes, such as hearing and chanting, and by performing such easy and natural devotional services, the devotees achieve the highest perfectional results, far, far superior to merging into the existence of Brahman. The devotees are therefore never advised to indulge in speculating on the nature of the Supreme or artificially meditating on the void. One should not, however, mistakenly think that after the annihilation of this present body, there is no body by which one can associate with the Lord face to face. The living entity is unborn. It is not that he is manifest with the creation of the material body. On the other hand, it is true that the material body develops only by the desire of the living entity. The evolution of the material body is due to the desires of the living being. According to the desires of the living being, the material body develops. So from the spirit soul, the material body comes into existence, generated from the living force. Since the living being is eternal, he exists just like the air within the body. Air is within and without the body. Therefore, when the external covering, the material body, is vanquished, the living spark, like the air within the body, continues to exist. And by the direction of the Lord, because he is the ultimate benefactor, the living entity is at once awarded the necessary spiritual body befitting his association with the Lord in the matter of swarupya, equal bodily feature, salokya, equal facility to live on the same planet with the Lord, sarsti, equal possession of opulence like the Lord, and samipya, equal association with the Lord. The Lord is so kind that even if a devotee of the Lord cannot fulfill the complete course of devotional service, unalloyed and uncontaminated, by material association, he is given another chance in the next life by being awarded a birth in the family of a devotee or rich man, so that without being engaged in the struggle for material existence, the devotee can finish the remaining purification of his existence, and thus, immediately after relinquishing the present body, go back home, back to Godhead. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this connection, detailed information is available in the Bhagavat Sandarbha of Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada. Once achieving the spiritual existence, the devotee is eternally situated there, as already discussed in the previous verse. The translation again. The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living beings in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, he is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body. Om Gana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksuram Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. So Srila Prabhupada starts out this verse, this purport, quoting the verse that Vira Govinda Prabhu gave the class on yesterday, 230, expressing that even when even though the material body is vanquished, the soul, the living entity, is not exhausted. As we know in Bhagavad Gita, we were reminded yesterday that verse was the first, or it was the last of 20 verses. In the first teaching we understand in Bhagavad Gita, Denos Minyata Dehi, the living entity continually migrates in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, and similarly into another body at the time of death. So the soul, we're beginning of Bhagavad Gita is helping us to understand how the soul is different. We are different from the body, the same way a vehicle is different from the driver. And when we do festivals over the summer, this some of you have seen this changing bodies diorama, and it's the, even though there's no words to it, it's a sculpture. You know, a picture tells 1,000 words. Well, a sculpture must tell 1,000,000. explaining to people that your body is like a car. Like when people are in their car, do they ever say I Toyota or I Ford? No, it's my Toyota or my Ford. They refer to it with possession. Possession means there's a person, there's something possessing it, and there's a possessor. So it's a very nice way to get people to open their eyes, because most people are just thinking, I am this body, and this is I nose. And when you say I nose or I ear, it just kind of opens their eyes. So he's beginning this purport explaining with that verse he quoted from the Gita, that we are living entities. We are different from this body. We're in this body. Krishna has given us this body according to our desires. Every one of us has different nature, different desires, and we get exactly what we deserve. Like every one of us are the architects of our own future. Whatever we have, it's exactly what we deserve for what we asked for, something in between those two. And then Prabhupada goes on to quote 411, that yayatamam prapadyante, that as we surrender unto Krishna, he rewards the living entities accordingly. He reciprocates with the living entity. You take a few steps toward Krishna, he becomes more visible and reveals himself to us in time. So Krishna is the one who is awarding the results, awarding our desires. So he kind of mentioned in here, and it was mentioned yesterday, devotees don't generally worship demigods. Someone may worship a specific demigod for a specific result, but Prabhupada has explained to us that devotees don't worship demigods because they understand Krishna is the one who's actually providing all the results to us. Sometimes in Nectar of Devotion, it says, sometimes we worship Ganapati or Ganesh because he removes obstacles on the path of devotional service. And although we don't generally worship demigods, we have the greatest respect for them. Like Lord Shiva, he's, some people, he's in charge of the mode of ignorance, but he's also the topmost Vaishnav. He's, so we have great respect, but our worship and our adoration, our prayers all go to Krishna. There's another verse in the Bhagavatam, maybe you know exactly where it is, where it says that if one has no material desires or all material desires, if one is completely liberated or just beginning, still we worship the Supreme Lord Krishna. He's the one who's going to fulfill everything, no matter what our desires are. So Prabhupada goes on in his purport here that it is the duty of everyone to worship devoutly only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he advises how an impersonalist, instead of speculating or meditating how to merge, he can just begin to engage in devotional service. And this process of devotional service is very easy, starting with serving a devotee. When earlier in the Bhagavatam, when the question is put, it's either put to Sutta Goswami or Sukadeva Goswami, how does one develop an attraction for hearing the pastimes of the Lord? And there's a verse, you might know exactly where it is, but by serving one who is completely free from all vice, the urge. What's the English?
By serving the devotee who is completely free from vice.
From all vice.
From all vice, you want to recite?
No.
You don't want to. Yeah, great service is done, and one develops an attraction for the messages of the personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
More or less.
So hearing these messages of Godhead in many places throughout the first canto and beginning of the second canto, when Maharaj Parikshit is questioning Sukadeva Goswami, what is the duty of a man or anyone, a person at the time of death? And the duty of all persons is to hear the pastimes of the Lord. And so for us, Prabhupada has given a very nice program. At least in my case, I have no desire to hear the pastimes of the Lord. No desire. Prabhupada has given us a plan. You rise early, we chant japa. Devotees generally have 4 or 5 hours every morning, rising, chanting japa, hearing the Bhagavatam. We chant this verse every day, Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu. Just by hearing the Bhagavatam and by serving the person Bhagavat, all that is troublesome to the heart is removed. We might have so many problems, personal problems, emotional problems, but if we hear the Bhagavatam, these things will be gradually removed. And in the beginning, and beginning is maybe different for all of us. I still feel in the beginning, and I've been hearing this for many years already, we may not have a spontaneous attraction. So that question was asked, well, how do I get the attraction? Now I do these things because my spiritual master, Prabhupada, said, do these things and you will become successful. So we're doing that. But at some point, it's so attractive that I want to do them. It's like following regulative principles. In the beginning, someone might think, oh, you people are so negative. You can't eat this, you can't do that, you can't do any of this. But at some point, when one has an attraction, one will stop thinking that, I really want to go to McDonald's, but, they said I'm not allowed, so I won't go. But at some point, once you've had nice prasadam, samosas and sabjis and so much nice prasadam, you're not even thinking that, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. You have a taste, a desire. And so how do we get that taste? It's by serving those who are free from vice. And you're familiar with Narada Muni's pastimes. In his previous life, he was the son of a maidservant. And his mother was engaged in serving the sadhus they were parked in one place during Chaturmasya, I believe it was. And so she was serving them, taking care of them. And Narada, he got to take the remnants of some of their prasadam. He was, helping his mother, serving these saintly persons, and he got the remnants of their prasadam. And as a result of that, he became Narada Muni. So, and Prabhupada speaks it in that, in one of his purports there, that the remnants of pure devotees can be taken with or without their permission. And there's many pastimes with Prabhupada when people would, just take something or, all that was left. I remember being in Honolulu once downstairs in the temple, and they brought a plate down from Prabhupada's room. The big plate, so many things. And it looked like he didn't even eat anything. And there was an orange peel on it. And obviously he had it in his mouth because the orange peel, how when you bite it, someone bites it, they take the juice out of it and leave it. So, that these things look very attractive for devotees. And fortunately, and Prabhupada, he may not physically be here, but he has left so many instructions, and following those instructions, one is serving him. So actually, some people think, we hear that, Prabhupada, he was a previous acharya. He's not available anymore. Now we have, some of his people or followers are now acharyas. But now with the internet and with technology the way it is, Srila Prabhupada is more accessible today than he was 40 years ago. I mean, you can go on the internet to Bhaktivedanta Veda base, and I have this little thing called books or Veda books or something like that, or something Veda. All of Prabhupada's books are right there. You have so much access. On the Veda base, you could hear his conversations, read his letters, lectures. So by serving him, there's certain things we know Prabhupada wanted. He was very pleased when you introduce people to Krishna consciousness. And this wasn't just Prabhupada, as we know Lord Chaitanya was pleased with that. And right in Bhagavad Gita, in the end of the 18th chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna, whoever explains this science to my devotees, he is most dear to me. So when you have a devotee like this one over here, or this one here that is giving Krishna to so many people, this is not important. This is a very big sacrifice. It's a big sacrifice for devotees to go out and preach, because it's not always met nicely. Sometimes when you go on Sankirtan, when I was a young brahmachari, we used to go door to door, and I remember the first time I went on Sankirtan, they gave us 25 Back to Godhead magazines, and they say, just go try to get 25 cents for each one. And you go to each house, and it was like, and so I asked the devotee, should I bring my sleeping bag with me? 25 of them. You go to some houses, I was in Hawaii, you go to some homes, like the Japanese people were so respectful. They'd invite you in their house, they'd want to give you, they see you with a sikha, and they understand you're a monk. We had saffron robes, but other places, I remember going to a door, people answer the door, you, and they'd like, you'd have to run. They'd like throw a can of beer at you. And, if they hit you, you're all, people would run after you. And so preaching is not always met with, oh, please come in. I'd love to hear from you. Sometimes you're met with obstacles. And even Srila Prabhupada, he came here pure devotee, like an ambassador from the spiritual world. And he came to New York. He was attacked. You read in this Lilamrita book, they stole his things from him. He was attacked at times. And even sometimes his own disciples didn't treat him properly. So this is the power of a devotee. He's not bewildered. Haridas Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was beaten, whipped. They tried to kill him. And the Kazi ordered his men to kill him. And, he wouldn't die. They dragged him, they beat him. And then these people that were beating him said, look, will you please just die, because the Kazi will he will punish us if you don't. So he manifested, he appeared as if he died, and they threw him in the river, and then floated down a little ways, and he just came out chanting again. But just for the benefit of the people who were beating him, he agreed to, okay, if my dying will be good for you, then I'll die. This is a Vaishnava. The Prabhupada speaks about the different the devotees, therefore, following their constitutional instincts, achieve the desired goal of becoming servitors, friends, fathers, mothers, and conjugal lovers. So there's 5 principal relationships. These 5 here, and it's not like we know that, okay, I want to be Krishna's conjugal lover, or I want to be in this position. By practicing devotional service, by engaging in the process, hearing and chanting, at some point in the future, Krishna is going to let us know what our position is. He will, it's not that automatically I think, well, I'm a peacock, and I'm a peacock, and I start trying to act like something I'm not. It's like self-realization doesn't mean that, I have Photoshop a picture of myself in the clouds with angels or something. Self-realization is understanding, reading about Narada Muni, Sukadeva Goswami, our Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, understanding what it means to be self-realized. What it means, we might all have an academic understanding that, yes, we're not these bodies, we're eternally a spirit soul. But every day when we take a look in the mirror, am I acting like a material body, or am I acting like a liberated soul? Am I doing everything I can for the benefit of all the conditioned souls, trying to help them come out of their, open their eyes? Or am I acting to satisfy my own personal desires? And even desires might be very subtle. It might not be gross sense gratification, it might be desires for fame, adoration, and distinction. What am I looking for? And is my greatest, am I looking to please myself, or am I looking to please Krishna? So self-realization means to understand where I am, where I want to be. And where I want to be, free from anxiety, free from stress. I want to be peaceful. And looking at Srila Prabhupada and say, this is where I want to be, and understanding, well, this is where I am. So what do I have to do to get there? So we have, devotees have a transcendental GPS. We know where we want to go. On every GPS, what's the first thing you do when you turn it on? You have to choose a destination. And then sometimes they give you an option, a starting place. So our starting place is not that we're self-realized. Maybe originally we were all originally Krishna conscious living entities, but starting place now is that, okay, I'm in the material world. I have material desires. I'm trying to go here. So I have to program my life GPS. This is what I have to do. I'm not on the liberated platform, because if I was, I probably wouldn't be here anymore. So I have to understand, we have to first look in the mirror, where are we? Who am I? What am I looking for in this world? And know where I want to go, and then follow that. And Prabhupada gave us general directions, well, specific directions, rising early, and practically every initiation letter that Prabhupada wrote, saying, please see that these new devotees rise early, attend Mangalarti, chant 16 rounds of japa, hear the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita daily. These are essential things. And sometimes if we don't live near a temple, it doesn't mean you have to go to a big temple, but you rise early and chant by yourself. With a congregation. Now just with the internet, you could have a congregation from wherever you are. But our process is Sankirtan, or congregational chanting of the holy name. This is the main part of our process. Associating with devotees who are following. Associating is very important. Another symptom, when we think of Srila Prabhupada and what he did, there's a verse in the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj where he says, indeed, there are many great saints and sages that live in caves in the Himalayas, and they take vows of silence and practice great austerities. But I choose to live in the cities cities and villages where so many conditioned souls are, because then I can serve them by by trying to help open their eyes. So when you think about Srila Prabhupada, the personification of mercy, he was in Vrindavan, Radha Damodar. He stayed there and gone back to Godhead, no problem. But instead, he sacrificed his life in his old age. Most men get to be 65, 70 years old. Well, I got a nice house, good internet connection. It used to be a subscription to the, New York Times or something. And, I have a little money, retirement fund, and, I'm just going to, sit back, watch television, or, take it easy. But at the advanced age of 69, he got on a boat. Not even like first class in an airplane, but on a boat, went across the ocean, had heart attacks. And look at when you read about his life, what austerity he did, and for who? It wasn't for his own benefit. I mean, he was already on the transcendental platform, but his spiritual master asked him to distribute this Krishna consciousness in the English language. So he gave that for all of us. So they say the disciple has a debt to the spiritual master that really there's no way we can repay it. How are you going to repay Prabhupada for what he did? $1 million? 100 million? He saved the whole planet, really. Before Prabhupada came, there was, I don't even think there was a thing called a health food store in North America. You know, maybe they had some kind of thing, but after Prabhupada came, vegetarianism became very popular. After devotees started going out and preaching to people. And now there's so many gurus that have come from India, you know, from different kinds of things. Of course, before Prabhupada, there was, I think Paramahansa Yogananda came earlier, but he was basically an impersonalist. And Prabhupada, he started, he kind of opened, he blazed the trail, and then others tried to follow, but because they had a different message, they weren't really very successful. Now all over America, you go to yoga studios, there's people doing kirtan. I went to this festival for several years in a row in California called Bhakti Fest.
Mhm.
It's not done by devotees. The person who organizes it, his name is Sridhar, disciple of Satchidananda Swami, or Satchidananda Swami. Did you ever see the Hatha Yoga book? Big gray beard, white hair, teaches Hatha Yoga. He came about the same time Prabhupada came in the mid-60s, but he was 20 years younger. So he lived until the late 90s, I think. And he had followers, but his main thing was Hatha Yoga. So just a brief story about Swami Satchidananda. My son was traveling, doing kirtan with a few devotees, and he was invited to go to the Integral Yoga Ashram to do kirtan. And that's up in Virginia. And he was only 16 at the time, so I went along with them because, you know, I didn't want to send him alone. So when I was there, I got to meet these people in this ashram. And there were several women there that were sannyasis. And so I said, oh, do you have any of the men take sannyas? And I said, well, they take sannyas, but they've had some problems. So the women sannyasis seem to do better. And when I was there, they asked me, you know, do any of you know how to cook? And I said, oh yeah, we cook all the time for 400 or 500 people. Really? Because we're having a special festival coming up for Satchidananda's Swami's his anniversary. Like we have a Vyas Puja festival. So these people, even though they're impersonalists, they invite devotees to come and chant there. And they invited us to come and cook. Not just like an offering, but they paid us to go there and cook there. Like we would call it a Vyas Puja, but would you ever invite people from outside to come and cook for Prabhupada? It's like, it's just something unheard of, you know, you'd only, you know, they invited us. So I brought 3 devotees there and, you know, we cooked and, you know, offered everything to Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. And then they had like 400 people there. And this one lady that was in their ashram, I think she was one of the sannyasi ladies. She said, yeah, I grew up near the Hare Krishna temple in Denver, Colorado. So I grew up and you're going to cook halava, aren't you? So Prabhupada has made prasadam famous. He's given so much. So does anyone have any comments, questions, corrections, or discussion?
I want to share this memory you shared with me the last time you visited me in Montreal in connection to the prasadam. I think it was that Prabhupada asked after the class, why did you all come here? And Prabhupada said because of prasadam. And then there was like dead silence and everyone was embarrassed because whatever. And then Prabhupada, he broke the ice by saying, and we too.
That's cute.
So that memory was enlightening me throughout the years.
That's a story that you heard from Madhuha.
Madhuha personally, yeah.
Yeah, many times prasadam is that's why we have to be very careful. Like devotees, we talk about prasadam, but we have to be very careful. Like when you're traveling, you want to run in and get some potato chips, or you want to do that. If you're going to travel, before you go, cook something, offer it with patram pushpam purantoyam. Offer it with as much love and devotion as we have. Like when we're offering, you're actually praying, Krishna, please accept this. I know you have Radharani and the gopis, they can cook a lot better than I can, but this is all I have. So please accept this. Please accept it. And even if it's just some, whatever, some chapatis, a little bit of salad, it doesn't have to be opulent, but it should be as nice as we're able to do. We might not have the money to make super opulent things, but whatever we're able to do, just the key is with bhakti, whatever love we have. That's what makes the offering. Krishna doesn't need our potatoes and whatever. He has hundreds of millions of gopis, goddesses of fortune, and he has Radharani that never cooks the same thing twice. I know how to cook 4 or 5 things, but and if I cook once, hey, that's not bad. But if I cook for 2 weeks straight, you get bored of it already. Hey, we had this a few days ago, But Krishna doesn't need our offerings, but it's for our benefit that we serve him. He already has hundreds of thousands, million, unlimited servants. But by following this process, we become, Krishna will want to, he will say, oh, he's looking, just want to do service. In India, they say there's thousands and thousands of temples. Krishna is standing in the temple playing his flute, and so many people are coming in. Oh, Krishna, please let me find a nice, beautiful wife. Or let me find a husband with a lot of money. And let my son pass his PhD exam. Or, oh, my father, Krishna, please help my father get over his sickness. And then a devotee comes in chanting japa, oh, Krishna, please give me a little devotional service. Krishna will practically drop his flute. What did you say? You want some service? Because so many people, they're just approaching Krishna as an order supplier. Krishna, give me this, give me that. And it's true, whatever we need, Krishna is the one we should ask for. But at the same time, we should understand Krishna is feeding everybody. The ants, the elephants, they eat 100 pounds a day. Krishna is feeding all that. He's feeding. So we don't have to ask Krishna for food. We always thank him, before taking prasadam, we always know that this is Krishna's mercy. But the thing we should be asking Krishna for, if we're really to become devotees, is how can I serve you? How can I serve you? That's the main question. How do you want me to serve you? What I can do in my life, okay, I have this resource and that resource, but Krishna, just show me how to utilize whatever assets, knowledge, ability, skills, whatever resources we have. Krishna, please help me use whatever I have in your service. And when Krishna sees you using it nicely, he will give you more. He'll give you more to use for him. Just like a parent, if you buy your child, your 8-year-old child, you buy him a little bicycle and he's pedaling the bicycle. And if he leaves the bicycle outside in the rain and leaves it in the street, the father's, not going to be so inclined to get him more things. But if the boy brings his bicycle inside, cleans it at night, and takes really good care of it, then, oh, he's very nice. Now I'll buy him a car this time because he uses everything nicely. So whatever Krishna has given you, like including these bodies, we have to take care of these bodies. I mean, we know we're not the body. It's just, but it's like a tool. If someone loans you a tool, like I do construction work, if someone loans you a saw, and then you return it and the blade is warped and it looks like you left it out in the rain, you're not going to loan that person tools anymore. But if they take care of it, if you use whatever you have in Krishna's service, when I was a young brahmachari, it was like, I was thinking just neglect. You don't need this, you don't need that, and I didn't take care of myself or anything. And then after I had children, having a family really opens your eyes a little bit. You see that Krishna blessed me with, he gave me some facility. I have to take care of this. When you borrow something, like you borrow a book from the library, you can't bring it back all torn up. They're gonna make you pay for that. That's just unacceptable. So when Krishna gives you something, you have to take care of it. You have to be a caretaker. It's like in the Bible, I think it says something like God gave man dominion over all the animals. So some people say, yeah, dominion, that means we can eat them. But dominion, it's like in a family, a husband has dominion. A husband has dominion over his family, but that doesn't mean he's a slave driver. It means he protects them, he takes care of them, he looks after them. So whatever Krishna has given us, we have to take care of it. And then Krishna will see, oh, he's respecting what we've given him. And then he will give more resources if he thinks you can use them. Anyway, sorry for running on so long. Any other questions, comments?
I like your GPS analogy, and I was thinking, I don't use GPS very often, but I have a few times. And what I like with that analogy is that when I lose my track, like I lose my way, the GPS constantly brings us back or find north of my end. And it seems that by following Srila Prabhupada, even when we lose track, then Prabhupada finds a way to kind of redirect our paths. I like that analogy.
We made samosas this week, and Garuda had a birthday. He turned 44, and we made samosas for him. And last night we had leftovers, and we made some more. So he was really happy, and everyone's really happy. Every time we eat samosas or pakoras, we're wondering how do we schedule this in, to the monthly or weekly thing. Everyone really wants more of that. And so anyway, I'm just sharing a fun story that I asked my kids, what if, yes, but what if you woke up and I told you that you had to eat 50 samosas for breakfast and lunch and dinner? It was I tried to just go to the extreme. What if we had too much? And they're just no. Anyway, Garuda said, maybe we can alternate between, because samosas are more time consuming than pakoras in some ways. So he's what if it's samosas, pakoras, samosas, pakoras, and then we all sang the song, samosas, pakoras, samosas, pakoras. Anyway, it was fun. I'm just sharing that we like prasadam, especially samosas and pakoras, but we probably could get sick of it. Anyway, not very philosophical, just fun.
Absolutely.
Family time.
You're appreciating with your family transcendental prasadam. At the same time, you are making a point to your children about the nature of material enjoyment.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay, what if you were forced to eat 50? Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
You're making a point about material enjoyment.
Yes.
So what's philosophical?
So prasadam distribution is a wonderful way. Prasadam is attractive to everyone. So one of the things on the farm in Prabhupada village where some of the devotees are growing vegetables, and they take it to the market and sell vegetables. But, sure, you could offer your kale and spinach and broccoli, you can offer to Krishna, but there's something called added value. When you take those vegetables in the kitchen and you cook them, you prepare it, and then sell prepared prasadam. Number one, it creates more employment, employing the devotees. Some devotees don't want to get their hands dirty in the garden, but they're really good in the kitchen. Like with kale grows really well in North Carolina. You can grow it right through the whole winter. And now it's a big thing in the health food stores, dehydrated kale chips, which you take the kale and you mix it with a little bit, some oil and spices, and then dehydrate it. And the little thing this big, like 4 ounces of kale chips, is like $9. When you sell the kale straight, you get a whole big handful for like $2.50 or $3. So prasadam, it's not just a good spiritual thing, but it's for grihastas. You can, maintain yourself selling prasadam. Not that we want to, we don't want to exploit. We're not exploiting prasadam to maintain ourselves, but you're doing it works. It works good for everyone. It's like distributing books. There's times that Prabhupada said you can support yourself by distributing his books. So yeah, you can do that, and it's good for you if it helps pay your bills, feed your family, and whoever gets the book is getting some special mercy. So prasadam, everything about it is good.
Ways to engage in the direct process of devotional service and bring in an income to support self and family. And I was very moved. Well, yeah, you're describing about, we offer what we have. We understand Krishna's Radharani and millions of goddesses of fortune. I was reminded when you were speaking, there's this lecture, I'm sure many here have heard it, and maybe a year or so ago, Molly, you posted on the Facebook Bhakti Yoga discussions page. And towards the end of the lecture, Prabhupada's talking about Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami had renounced everything and just living underneath a tree. And he had his Madan Mohan deities on a tree branch, essentially. And so he would offer them some dried chapatis. And then quite a relationship there. The deity said, well, give us some salt. Give us some salt. And then Sanatan Goswami. And then Prabhupada, because it's a funny story. At the same time, when Prabhupada narrated the story, and he's saying, and Sanatan Goswami, sir, you must, it's such a rasa, sir, you must just take what I have. He's talking to Madan Mohan. You must just accept what I have. And then Prabhupada breaks into tears. Please, sir, just accept what I have. And then so I was reminded of that lecture where Prabhupada goes into these tears that just pierce the heart when we hear Prabhupada telling the story. So that came to me as I heard you speaking.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And on that same,
I hear there was someone on the internet.
anyone on the internet have a question?
I wanted to express my appreciation for your class this morning. I'm experiencing a great deal of encouragement on your emphasis of taking care of the body. I get a message of austerity generally when I'm reading about our bodies and the material world. And there's a message that I've misconstrued is that almost that we shouldn't be ascetic, but that there is an idea of limiting our interactions with the world and hearing a way that we can increase our self-care and really serve Krishna by doing that is what I needed to hear today. I find that message very encouraging and very inspiring. And so I appreciate you taking time to emphasize that today in this class.
Also, many of us are in different positions. For someone who is a brahmachari or a sannyasi, there's a little more place for austerity. Whereas in the Shastra, it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, someone in the renounced order of life should not eat luxurious foods or dress opulently. Whereas for a grihasta, you know, you have to maintain your family. You have to, if you're going to do if any of us are going to do service in this life, we have to keep our tools sharp. We have to keep our body healthy. If your body's not healthy, we're going to just be so absorbed. Oh, I got to take care of this, and this hurts, and that hurts, and my, you know, headaches, and we're just going to dwell on the body. So to get out of the bodily concept of life, we need to be healthy. We need to help, and we keep our children healthy. But for someone who is in the renounced order of life, they have to practice a little more austerity than the rest of us.
Hearing you, I feel like maybe there is a contradiction between austerity and taking care of the body. And it relates to my question yesterday during class.
I just want to show, are you hearing Malini on internet?
Louder.
Good, we're good.
Yeah, because I was thinking like almost opposite, that by performing austerity, then we serve the body to be healthier. Like by doing accepting discomfort for the body is kind of counteracting the natural karma that could come to the body in form of disease and all those things. Could you speak about that? Am I clear?
Yeah. I would, my understanding is that real austerity, like real renunciation, is doing whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness. Like before I met devotees, I lived in Hawaii for a while. I was a fruitarian, just eating raw fruit for maybe 6 months.
You came to Krishna consciousness as a fruitarian.
Yeah, and then I went to a Sunday feast, and you know, they chanted, everyone sat down, and they passed out banana leaves, serving the prasadam, or tea leaves, these big oval leaves. And they came around with prasad, and I was saying, no, I'm just here for the good vibes, you know. And oh, this food is full of good vibes, you know. And you know, and then I said, oh, I'm just a fruitarian. Oh, this we grew on the tree outside. It's called a halava tree. I haven't heard of that one before. And so they loaded me up with prasad, and to me, it was a big austerity to eat the prasad. Because sometimes at the temples, you know, it's halava, khichdi, and although it's all delicious, these kind of foods, if you have too much, it's really can just make you want to go to sleep. It's a big austerity, but it's a bigger austerity to eat only prasadam. Bigger austerity to eat prasadam. That's the real austerity. So and Prabhupada advises that you want to eat just what it takes to maintain body and soul together. And you may think it's an austerity to eat a little less, like devotees used to have an expression, we used to hear it, enough is plenty. Like everyone needs a little sense gratification. Sense gratification is like salt. You know, you need a little bit of salt. You know, you need a little bit when you're cooking. But if you dump the whole thing in, you'll poison yourself. You'll kill yourself with it. So austerity means accepting just what's required to maintain body and soul together. And yeah, there seems to be a contradiction. You want to be austere and you want to fast, I was into that fasting and fruitarian, and I met devotees and they say, well, when you're fasting, you're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to be tired or, spaced out because you didn't eat. So you have to, everyone's body is different. You know what your body can handle. And if we know it, again, on our GPS, we know, I want to go back to Godhead. What do I have to do to get there? And on certain days, we encourage fasting. Prabhupada encourages fasting. Ekadasi days, Janmashtami, on certain days, we fast. Because by decreasing our bodily needs and increasing our Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, by increasing our hearing and chanting, that's good for us. But when like the karmis talk about austerity and the economics, like, yeah, we're going to have to drink less coffee or, not go to the movies as often. For them, that's an austerity. For us, it would be an austerity to go to a movie because, that's just like a big waste of time. We don't want to do those things because ideally, we all have a higher taste. And austerity for us is to just follow the process that Prabhupada gave us. And eating a little bit less, it's probably gonna, in the long run, be good for me. So it's when we go overboard, become too fanatical on these things.
I appreciate the discussion. Yeah, because austerity basically means, because we're in lower modes, we're in Rajas and Tamas. So to develop and cultivate sattvic habits, it's an austerity. And as you're saying, and for the most part, the austerity is healthy for the body. Like, okay, I want to sleep till noon. Getting up at 4 a.m., that's an austerity. And everyone knows it's healthy. Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And so, so they would ask Prabhupada, the guest would ask, well, how do the devotees get exercise? Prabhupada immediately responded, dancing. Okay, so like at early in the morning, discussing philosophy and taking bath and
Cool.
and of course the idea of vegetarianism, but now I like the point you made, because for the most part, Prabhupada doesn't get much credit for the whole vegetarian movement the past 55 years. But and I don't think it's our bias. I think like 80 or 90% of it, Prabhupada was the seed of that vegetarian movement. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but I really think it's just a sociological truth. And so we know, so now it's known, science has shown, actually, a vegetarian diet can be very healthy. And I'm thinking, in this whole discussion, I'm thinking of Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada gave a lot of attention to caring for his body. Mm-hmm. He gave just a lot of attention. He really knew how to do it.
He showed expertise, yeah.
He really knew how. He showed expertise, apart from his transcendental understanding and realization. But he was a pharmacist in Ayurveda, and his morning walks and his massage. He gave a lot of attention. At the same time, of course, it's always taking care of my body to serve Krishna with it. So, for example, Prabhupada was so healthy in so many ways, like that. At the same time, someone can say, well, it's very unhealthy between the ages of 70 and 80 to fly around the world in airplanes 14 times. That's not unhealthy. But it's not like, well, that's my service, to fly to New Zealand this month and India the next month, and then Los Angeles. So it's not like, in the name of taking care of my body, I'm going to compromise my service. Still, in the context of 100% devotional service, he was quite conscious to care for Krishna's body. Hare Krishna.
He was so healthy that he didn't even experience jet lag.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Good point.
So amazing.
I heard that Prabhupada could also devour 40 to 50 samosas at once.
Madhuha Prabhu like that.
From other.
Does anybody online have any final questions, comments, corrections, discussion?
Just thank you for such a nice class.
Hare Krishna. We thank dear Govinda Prabhu and Mother Malini for making this possible.
You can thank me. I needed to take a strong stand to get Madhuha to give class. So I will
Thank
take
you,
some
dear
credit.
Govinda.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear Govinda.
Hare Krishna.
Govinda.
Being so strong.
What's that?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, dear Govinda.
Okay.
Amazing class. Having
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai,
Ki
Srila
jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Madhuha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bo.
Speaking of prasad,
Ask go see if it's Pasha. We heard it better. We have khichdi. That's what we eat every day, khichdi. That's our ashram food.
Right?
Khichdi every morning, and that's what we eat every day.
Complete.
But it's yummy.
Khichdi is like a feast for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really a feast. Would you like some khichdi?
I mean, I would, but I have to leave in like maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So
It's really hot. You're going to burn yourself.
you could take some with you.
Yeah,
yeah, a little, a very small portion, but I'll,
yeah. You staying with Ramananda?
yeah. Well, they're putting me to work while I'm here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you like doing something to his house?
Yeah, just construction type. Work.
Okay. Nice, nice. It's interesting, this morning I got up and I was taking a shower, and under my shower I was lamenting, I was saying, oh, I wish dear Govinda Madhuha Prabhu will come here because it will be a bigger kirtan and a bigger class and we'll have more in-person association. And then your class was all about how, Krishna hear us. So I felt helped by Srila Prabhupada.
So you're to blame for the blackout.
Yeah, I think so. I was taking my shower and said, oh, I wish they will come here. That's not fair that they are not coming here.
Well, Krishna takes care of our desires like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Yeah. It made me, I thought of the story with George Harrison.
Oh, yeah. It's the Krishna book donation, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and the lightning went off?
Yeah, the
Quite a
lightning,
story.
so this time it's, the electricity could have gone up, like that we could be all together here. That's really nice. So khichdi for Madhuha.
You know the George Harrison lightning story?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I'm live, but you're speaking.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
How old are your children? Are your sons? No.
27
Oh,
and 32.
it's almost like Abhi and Sita.
Yeah, my children are 27 and 30,
Would you like to have a seat, Auntie? Prasad?
so they're just about your age.
I'm in the middle.
I'll be with
Ramchan?
bus for he gave a class and I was really surprised. God, he's like 12 years old or 14 years old.
Yeah,
You know, he's
it's a Pandit even then.
first time fall far from the tree. And my sons are doing construction.
That's what they're doing?
They work for Govinda.
No,
That's okay, and
stay here for khichdi.
He runs an air
Now be
conditioner.
careful, this is like sense gratification.
Okay. Alright, so. Yeah, he's a counselor. He's really the counselor. He has his master's degree. So he seems satisfied in that field.
Oh, similar field, but
Similar field, yeah, he's taking the self-drive courses as C10. Yeah. So,
Avi is the younger one? or older?
Avi's younger, yeah. Avi's 27 and Sita just turned 30 a few weeks ago. Yeah. My experience was, wow, if my daughter's 30, that means I'm not 30. It was my personal process.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah.
This is a few minutes closer.
It's really hot and it's
Oh.
upside down. The tree is, yeah. If you want to go down.
Thank you, I wish I could stand.
Yeah, me too. I wish you could be with us. But you are going to do some construction work. That's why I'm on that stairs. Are you downstairs with Amanda also?
Yeah.
They live together. And Margaret is there too. They're all together. Yeah. Yeah, so I see Margaret once in a while. But I didn't know all three of them. And then Ramananda's wife.
Ramananda's wife, she's Canadian,
Yeah.
so she's having
Like a
some,
week later.
she was just here for like 5 months.
Yeah.
She can't stay in America more than 6 months.
Oh, when so she's married.
Yeah, they got married and they're doing the legal route, trying to file. During the last several years, immigration has been real tough for them. You think that they're married legally.
You would think.
Because when I got married, that's what gave me like, as soon as I got married, I was able to stay in America.
Nine is always my favorite number.
Well, they got married legally in
We didn't want.
May of last year,
Yeah.
2008. But they say it's within a few months it's going to come to eventual move here. Ramanand and Mohini both told me that that they want to move to Prabhupada Village, they want to get on the farm.
Nice.
Now he has good employment.
Yeah, we work with Govind Desai's company, but
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I'm gonna invite them in your letter you asked
I
to
thought I'm all-
go tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, please, it would be nice.
So
Yeah.
I'll ask them, I'd like them to meet this group of people,
Yeah.
their age.
A few years ago, Ramananda stayed with me here, you know?
I guess it's sleep.
Stayed for a few weeks, he lodged here.
Do it.
When he first arrived.
He lodged
in
there,
Ala-
she said.
When he
Oh,
first
when he
arrived in
first
Alaska, he landed here.
But he was on the farm, because he really likes agriculture, he took all his permaculture courses.
Yeah, that's why he was good.
Yeah, so he was with me on the farm, and he was doing good, and one day he said, "Hey, I gotta move to Dansville." I said, "What do you go down there for?" Well, I just want to move there. I said, "What's your name?" And they said, "Oh, I hear it's really nice." And, you know, years ago, you know Sahadev?
I've heard that.
President there?
Heard that name, yeah.
I asked Mother.
I know them because we do Rath every year there. Very nice family. Sahadev's mother was Shakti Mata. Disciple of Prabhupada. And Sahadev and his family, they were, his older brothers got initiated by Prabhupada. Sahadev was the youngest. So I was having breakfast with Sahadev and his wife, and I told him,
Oh, I think I know why
I
it
have
came
3
out.
daughters, and I have 2
It's
sons.
also,
You know, I just thought I'd throw it out. And,
So what was
It's a
your
very nice
experience going
family.
from vegetarian
you know,
to?
and Sahadev said, "How the girls these days are so." And I said, "Okay." So that's good. And just- he has 3 daughters. Never heard anything about it. And then Ramananda said, "I'm moving to Gainesville." And I said, "Is he a girl?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, well, where she what's her name?" Mohini. I didn't know the names of Sahadev's daughters. And I said, "Oh, what's her father's name?" He said, "Oh, Sahadev." Sahadev?
That's Prabhupada Krishna.
In ways we don't calculate.
Apparently Ramananda met
You feel better on either diet?
Mohini's sister on the bus trip. And then later they met online or something. Mohini asked her older sister, "Did you ever meet him?" And they said, "Oh yeah, he sings really nice."
Upward.
Anyway, so anyway, I hope it worked out. I've seen it 20 years how it worked out.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I wish I could say more to you, but
That's it.
Now I am going to do.
thank you for the opportunity to meet your.
I met-
Aribo.
This is
Vishwambar,
Nayan, Nayan Kamu.
I met Vishwambar Hari yesterday, he says hi, he's from the village.
Oh, Prabhupada Village, Vishnubar.
Vishwambar Hari,
Yeah,
he moved here 8 months ago.
yeah, that was a big loss to Prabhupada Village when he came.
Yeah, he helps with the cows here now.
Yeah, he was taking care of the cows up there. He got, he's married, he has 2 kids now or
I
one?
think so.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay,
Pleasure to meet you again.
Will you be at the program tomorrow?
yeah, I hope so. I look forward to
Yeah.
meeting Garuda.
Do
Still,
you need a ride?
all
Do
right?
you need a ride? Yeah. No, just to pick you up.
Well, possibly, although I have a vehicle.
Yeah.
But maybe we could, what's it, half hour away?
35 to 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to
So
that.
it's been a try.
Let us know and we can pick you up on the way because
I don't,
we passed about Tukey Creek,
okay.
so we could stop by.
I don't want to be pushing you to advertise it. I do want to invite
Oh, yes,
all
honey.
of you still to come and visit.
Yeah, I have a plan to come in spring and maybe some of our community members will come with me,
Okay.
you know, maybe go for me.
Work for me, yeah, that'd be. Okay, Aribo, we'll see you tomorrow.
Let's see
I
tomorrow. I just let us know if you want a ride. I hope you don't need a ride and you come with Aridas and Ramananda.
Yeah, well, that would be nice.
That would be
I don't know
wonderful.
if I could get them. I'll work on it.
Hare Krishna. Okay, see you service. Madhuha. Oh, it's fun. So happy Krishna Ramana.
Yeah.
He's happy or electricity.
Why, it's really strange because I was like, why is it that they're not here? The problem is that our houses, they could be here, like for Samsara, like the morning program.
Didn't feel right to you.
It didn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have a nicer kirtan for Mangalati
Yeah.
and all that, if they all come.
Yeah, so. Well, I forgot that the program was technically here. Yeah, it was, and I drove over there. Oh, Saturday. So, but now I'm meet Madhuha, yeah. I picked a bunch of flowers, I just brought them. But I decorated.
Wonderful picture, Prashad, thank you.
That's more wonderful.
So, for Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
If you still don't have, electricity, you can come in.
We'll go from here. I'm expecting we have electricity. I mean, usually when this happens, it's like about 1 to 2 hours
Yeah.
and we get it back. So when I get home, I'll let you know.
It's really strange because it's not everyone who thinks, oh, anything happened.
Unfortunately, it's less and less strange.
Unfortunately, that, yes or no? Something's happening in the world. Things that
Great.
you would expect in India,
So that
happen in America or in your neighborhood at least. Here we don't have problem with that.
accepted as one of those business arrangements, working through the inter-regional utilities.
Completely.
And this association.
Nice association, New York have done for the Yorkshire by more together. And for you to have kitchen,
There you go.
Nyan kitchen. Very nice Nyan.
Oh.
In South Town every day, and say, wow, what a great, that's a great kitchen.
That's a good itch.
Really good kitchen at South Town.
Nira was saying that you met Madhuha in Montreal.
Yeah, just 2 weeks after becoming a devotee joining.
I met him the next day at the temple.
Oh, that's right,
And I
yeah.
wanted to bring the books from his truck. I just like shaved the head and he like saw me. He was kind of shocked.
Yeah, I just started moving the temple, I don't even know if it's a week or 2 weeks or less than a week, I don't remember the details. But I joined around June, and the Hatha Yatra in Montreal is around June. And,
Yep.
and then,
Join the Baptist.
yeah,
And the Baptist.
the temple president of the Montreal temple, and knew that I had a degree in electronic.
Oh.
And so he wanted to engage me in service, I was really born new. And so he told Madhuha, I have a new battery that just came in. And she knows electronics, she can help you. And so now Madhuha gave me 2 microphones that took a while to fix. So I took care of his equipment like that. And then after that, Madhuha told my temple president, because there was no woman ashram, there was no woman in Montreal. I was like the first one to join for so many years. And so Madhuha told my temple president, you know, Jadron is in New York. I need you to stand your back into New York to be trained by the Jadron. So it was super instrumental on my spiritual life, because me getting trained by Jadron, it was very, it was really important in my spiritual life. It's a while.
Madhuha made that connection for you, that was really, really good.
My temple president, and then and that's when I got so close to Prabhupada because of that money. And at the time, I think the other one was really Prabhupada center,
That's my impression. I had some interaction with her at that point too.
because we were friends, like, very,
That was my from late 80s, early.
yeah, yeah.
Which is really interesting that both of you in different generations, days after joining the Hare Krishna movement in the Montreal temple, you had encounters, meaningful encounters with Madhuha. Not like you lived in Montreal.
No, it becomes once a year.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So you just before I like well, in terms of the how did you figure out about
Well,
Madhuha?
I joined Project Temple, apartment temple project,
Yeah,
and he would get his books from Madhuha. He would once a year, he would hide actually his books in the Rathayatra to do the other. And that's how we would bring all the books to us, that we would have like one bedroom, and we could put it to pack the books. And every year we would like clear. And every year we would raise more.
wow.
Yeah.
From his time,
Which
from his time,
Secretive.
quickly,
yeah,
you hide the cookies and keep track. And pass the powder and bring it to how much somebody told you.
yeah. Later, I think we got into some cookies.
Yeah.
Across the board.
But yeah, I sometimes like mention where you live. It's Madhuha, I refer to that sometimes, in person, $10,000 Prabhupada's pizzas. For him, it's not the money, just want to purchase the pre-78 pizzas, but it's just a festival in India for the most part, and it connects with ISKCON festivals, theaters and like that. But he was told by organizational authorities, if you distribute even one, we'll never invite you to that.
Oh, that's the devotee.
That's Madhuha.
Oh.
It was their bluff anyway. What they would have done without Madhuha.
That's good.
It was just bluff.
I tend to agree with you.
They are completely dependent on Madhuha's organization of the Festival of India.
I tend to agree with you.
I guess, yeah, there wasn't the border, it was just like, now I remember, always.
Yeah, it was this kind.
Yeah, so like Madhuha, for decades, he's very Prabhupada centered and but I was continuing with enthusiasm with this service, with many services. He then formed Festival in India in the late 70s. And so many tens of millions of people have gotten transcendental benefit, maybe more.
Yeah.
Really special. It just keeps going.
It's so fun. And also, all the young men that he engaged to travel all over America.
Yeah.
They become so fixed up with the country.
Right, it's not just the newcomers, yeah.
It's always the kids. All the kids.
Abhi was on that tour 1 year.
You went?
Abhi was on the bus tour.
Yeah.
So the bus tour kind of, sometimes they merge with the festival.
But he never went on the Festival of India.
Not directly,
Like
because we,
Govinda Saya was
Right.
doing it every year.
no, Abhi never did that.
Sur la foi, but
Very purifying.
yeah, it was like. Wow.
And when did Mother Lakshmana came?
Nice organization.
Right.
Right. Was on Lakshmana? Comment faire?
I think you mentioned that she tried to get cooking.
She was already there with Lakshmana, when I moved, but she was not in the temple, like she was
Not for
in the temple proper. It was Papa Brahmachari.
Um,
There was no Brahmachari, there was nobody. Temple was quite deserted at the time.
yeah.
With Lakshmana, she was living outside of the temple with her husband, 2 children. And then she would come once in a while, and there was a few people coming regularly to the temple to do service, for Adam and Noah.
Yeah, it's still deserted.
And then, so when I moved, the temple president, the temple commander at the time asked Mother Lakshmana to come and teach me how to make chapatis, and I knew how to cook, but I didn't know how to cook ashana. So she taught me how to make chapatis and kajma and dal and rice like that, things that specifically they would eat.
She made like some good choice with this.
Rama, would you like a ginger chew?
Sure, yeah.
Mango, orange?
She makes the best gulab jamun.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know someone can make gulab jamun so beautiful, like they look
Yeah.
and so yummy.
I already asked her about how she
Yeah,
made it.
that's
I
how,
mean, you,
that's
anything with
how we
sugar.
can, she was living in a cell neighborhood, like in that neighborhood. Yeah, she was just working.
It's a rough neighborhood. I never actually went to the temple, but.
I seen a rough neighborhood, it's a rough place of Montreal, yeah. Not, well, but it was cheap, so for the devotee to have apartments there. I think even a lot of devotees have subsidized apartments. There was a part of town where there was a lot of subsidized apartments.
Yeah. It's like a Skid Row in Montreal.
Peanuts,
Right, so
yeah, White City, Kansas City is there. Nice, yeah.
Dear, would you like a ginger chew?
Sure.
Mango, orange, or original?
Mango.
Yep, that's.
Mango are the
classic
best.
answer.
That's a really, really good.
You have a
recipe.
higher taste.
I don't know, I heard ginger is good for digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it's good for keeping away infection.
For mangoes was good. Mangoes was good, yeah.
It's just not qualification.
The mango is just for sunscreen. Hare Krishna, thank you. I'll let you know whether I have electricity. If I don't, I'll be here for Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, you will leave
Thank you.
a note on your door
Thank you.
with
Hare Krishna.
address. Hare Krishna, all of you. Thank you, Damayanti, for coming here. It's been such a long time
Yeah,
since you came here.
thank you. Yeah, I really need to get out of the house.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Want to share something with you, the other thing?
Okay.
Getting out of the house, yeah.
Well,
Away from the
we've
children.
been good, actually. It's been a really great week.
Yeah, you told me.
But I just haven't gotten out. I just need
Yeah.
Like most of the world.
Yeah, because you know the
to
war.
work at home, do homeschool, and
Your house.
Pandemic.
yeah, it was a cold week and we stayed home.
It's so much easier cooking kitchen in a box.
So much easier, cause no splashing. Yeah.
And it doesn't like overboil or anything.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't see why we couldn't do it there every day.